of the entries completed in the 5th variation. We're ready to go ahead and import variation number 6. In order to do that, we're going to go up to the File menu, and we need to open the file. The XML file, and save it as a Sibelius file before it'll let you use the append function. All right, so I have that here, and I will now go ahead and save as, and we'll save it as the Trout for V6. And then I'm going to go ahead and I can close that one. Now I can use the append function and bring it in. Okay, there we have it. There's our second part. We'll get rid of the, we don't need the piano quintet information there. Okay, and so there it is. Now we do have some minor edits to do. You can see that the brackets are in there, so we have to take those out. So use the inspector there to just get rid of all of the brackets. And then I need to also do that on this bottom part for just a little bit. And then I also need to do it for the violin part, so we'll just do that. Oops, lost it. Okay, and so now we've gotten rid of all of our brackets. We do have a little bit of a collision issue here we're going to have to deal with. Layout is telling us that that's a problem. You can also see that we ended up with a few notes that were note heads in the wrong, stems in the wrong direction. We have a bracket. We have brackets here too, so we'll get rid of those. Oh, Sibelius, don't be that way. We're ready to format the score now. We're going to use the model score as our basic model for this. And so we'll start out, we want to clear the formatting, and so that's already built into this. And so we're going to select all, and the first thing we'll do is select the Unlock Format button. And then we also want to go in and reset everything, and then click the Optimize button to apply the spacing that Sibelius has set up by default. Our next step should be to get the correct number of measures into each system, and you can see that most of the way through this score has 4 measures in a system. So we can use auto breaks and set that up so that it starts out with everything being 4 measures per system. Now obviously that causes us a problem. We have the dreaded hanging measure, where a single measure on the last page. We can't have that at all. So what we'll do is we'll select these 5 measures and make them into a system, and it just so happens if you look down at the bottom of the score, you'll see that that's exactly what it does. Now there are a few other places that I know that we have 5 measures per system. The first place is in the going to be right here in after our second ending, so we'll go ahead and select that, and after a while you'll decide that maybe you want to know the shortcut for that. If you point that, you'll see that it's Command Shift or Option Shift M, and so as we go into the other places that I need to do that, the first place is right before the sixth variation, because we want to have that start on a new measure, so on a new line it's by itself, so we'll set that. Okay, and then our next place is begins right here, and so again we'll select those. Oops. There we go. And use our shortcut, and that goes on for pretty much the next few. There we go. And you'll see that we end up with something a little strange there, so we have one more time to do this right here. Alright, so now we have our systems. These are our systems are more or less defined. But of course they're much too, we've only got 2 systems on a page, and they're much too big. These have 3 systems on a page, and so our goal is to get the page, most of these pages to look like this. So let's go ahead and go to the Appearance menu and select Engraving Rules, and we're going to change some of the engraving rules. Okay. We can leave the 5.5 spaces between staves, but I need to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to actually set this, this is what I ended up with here. Yes, of course I practiced this, and it's also important to reduce this a little bit, so that this is between the piano and the strings. So we'll click OK, and then once you start doing this, it's a good idea to just keep clicking these reset buttons here. You can also see, so each time you do that, it'll start to apply things. Now, the real key, though, of course, to this is going to be that we're going to have to reduce things. It's still way too big, so we're just going to keep taking it down until we get to a place where we get what we're looking for. And that would be to get 3 systems onto each page. There we go. Okay, so we had to go down to about 5.2, and that's not too bad. That's not really any smaller than what we're looking at over here on the side. And that looks pretty good, except that we have 2 systems on the end, last page, 1 system on the first page, and we still can't see the title. So instead, let's go ahead and change that orientation so that we're going to have 2 systems on the first page and 3 systems on all the subsequent pages. All right, so that looks pretty good. We're in pretty good shape. What we're going to have to do here is we can go through and we can do a little bit of tweaking. Each place you see a red is where magnetic layout is telling you that there's a small problem, and so you can go ahead and just kind of move them around until the red goes away. Get the red out, as they say. Okay, down here we definitely have to do something with that. Okay, here. See, so it's just a little bit of tweaking, and this is very similar to what it looks like on the in the real score. Okay, so let's see. I don't see any more red, so that's pretty good. Oh, right here. But here I don't care because I'm going to make this quite a bit bigger. So we're going to space all of this out a little bit more, so that it will take up a little bit more. It's pretty common to have a different spacing on the first page of a score, and we can go ahead and bring that down even a little bit more and just kind of balance it a little bit. So it's time to put in the finishing touches, just to kind of clean things up. There's a couple of odd things, like for some reason there's a page number, it seems like, right there. We can get rid of that. Seems to be like another one they seem to be floating around a number of places. So we might have to go get rid of those. This score has system separators between all of the systems, and so I think I want to go ahead and add those. That's a symbol, so we'll select the Z key and then scroll down until we see it's in here somewhere. There's an awful lot of symbols. There we go, system divider, and we'll click and place one right there, and then from there we can just option click and put them in, and there's just enough space in there for them. You might have to move them down just a little bit, and you could always, of course, if you decided, you could make this just slightly smaller, you know, maybe 1/10 of a millimeter would give you a little bit more space. Oops. So we'll take that down. And that's that, okay. I have instrument names all through this, and I don't really need them, at least not according to this score. So under Appearance, you can see that instrument names, we can turn off all of those, so that we won't have any of those left. This is bothering me a little bit too, that the piano quintet in A shows up on all of the pages, so I'm going to cut it and then click on the, and then go ahead and put it in just on the second page, beginning on the second page, and that should show up on all subsequent pages. Yes, that'll be fine. Okay, we don't need Franz Schubert there, but we do need, oh, we missed those there. As I look at this, I think maybe just 1 millimeter reduction would help a little bit. And then, of course, reset. Okay. This is getting too picky, probably. So I think we'll just leave it like that. Okay, and so now we need to add in our tempo, which is Command Option T. And we'll put in Allegretto there. And that's pretty close to having everything in there. There are rehearsal numbers, but I'm not going to put those in simply because we're not starting at the beginning of this piece. So that's the completed project.